Brian Evans goes on JMV The Ride and shares more explosive stories about Mike Woodson and the inner workings of this Indiana basketball program. Let's get into it.
Pretty simple. I win.
For three on the way.
Hello, guys, and welcome to Indiana Sports Connection. I am your residential anchor, Aaron. Thank you so much for being here and being part of this community. So, Brian Evans, Hillbilly Monkey, he is the gift that keeps on giving. Am I right or am I right? Or am I right?
Oh man, everybody loved Brian. He go on the radio. He talked about his ears and his nickname that he gave himself. I thought it was hilarious. He's always genuine.
That's right. Brian Evans is always a genuine, real deal article, and that's why I love him so much, and that's why he is the gift that keeps on giving back to Indiana basketball, because these stories are baffling. We're going to hear a point of view from him from the inside out. Mike Woodson, did he retire or did he not retire? Should he give the money back? Brian Evans has something to say about that. We're going to get into all of that momentarily, but first, hit that subscribe button down below. This is Indiana Sports Connection across the country and across the globe, growing the Hoosier fan base, the fastest growing channel in Hoosier Nation. Thank you so much for being here, and hit that thumbs up button. Let's get the video out to more Hoosier fans across the country and across the globe. And the video is brought to you by BetUS. Use my promo code Indiana125 to save 125% on your first 3 deposits, and 10% of the AdSense revenue on this channel goes to T2T.org. Without further ado, let's get into talking about the Indiana Hoosiers. Alrighty then, Hillbilly Monkey, we got Brian Evans. We got him loaded up here, and we got some clips of him, and they are more and more entertaining stories. I love to hear the ex-basketball players talk, and with this situation with Mike Woodson, it's the gift that keeps on giving. It's the gift that keeps on giving. So let's get into this first clip.
In the coaching search down in Bloomington, but what do you think about the fashion in which it has taken with the present head coach, Mike Woodson?
Yeah, I mean, I would say first and foremost, it's about time, to make it clear that he's not going to return for a 5th year. So I think for me, it's just rejoicing, that alone. Since that time and how we've gone about doing it, it's easy to, I think, poke holes and make fun of what the university has done. That press release, I received an email from Scott Dolson that I can't help but laugh at it. I think we all know what happened. Somebody had a conversation with him, about the state of the program and made it clear to him that he would not be returning, and instead it turned into something else. And this statement to me just is laughable. Like, he brought this on, and they have to make it very, very clear that he initiated. Well, okay, let's play by those rules. If he initiated and says he wants to retire, then there's no payout, right? He decided to leave the program, and so why would we pay him $8 million if he just decided to walk away? And so I'm just kind of laughing at what the university did, just acquiescing to him constantly. I don't even know what the official statement was. I know that I got an email that I've read 3 times that I think is hysterical. But all in all, excited that we're going to have a new coach next year.
The statement is laughable. I mean, it's like straight out of the narcissism playbook. And could Woody be taking himself down a path where maybe he would not get the $8 million? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. I don't know how all that stuff works. But if you're choosing to just retire or walk away, we're going to get into all the particulars of that, because Brian, he talks about it more in this next clip.
I'm laughing at the context, laughing at how they've presented it, because it can't be that. It can't be that. And I don't understand why they can't make it more of a joint thing. I mean, because to pay him out, it has to be, hey, we decided this together. We decided this together, and as part of that decision, Coach Woodson's going to get his $8 million walk-away money. Okay, if you guys talked and decided you'd had these long discussions about the future of the program and making sure it's in the best hands, you're supposed to say all that stuff. But it needed to be a joint thing. We decided. Instead, because of this guy and his narcissism and all things Woodson, he's taken a stand and said, no, I initiated it. And doesn't understand that kind of backfires on him. Because now I think we should ask questions. Wait. We just laid off 25 people. I don't know if this was a press release. Athletic department within the last 30 to 45 days laid off. We had to, and these are important people to some of these programs. I know the staffer from the volleyball program was a really important person to their staff, and Coach Aird is really upset about losing that person to this budget cut. So all these people lose their jobs, and 30 days later, Woodson initiates he wants to retire and he's going to resign at the end of the year on his own terms. Nobody made him. Nobody wanted him to. And we're going to just randomly give him $8 million? Couldn't we if he's the guy that they said he was in this press release, and he's a great man, humble man, no one cares more about Indiana University and Indiana University basketball than this man. Well, then he should just, and he's done real well, let's take that $8 million and hire back those 25 people. Oh, no, he doesn't care that much. Wait, he doesn't care that much. I just think it's a joke.
Exactly. I mean, if you're walking away by yourself, and I don't know if everybody knows this, but because of Title IX, it's like you have to give the money out equally, and now you have all this money pouring in for like different ones of these programs. So I don't know how that stuff works at all. Don't even ask me how it works. I just know they've laid off 25 people, and there were a lot of people upset about different things that happened. And if Mike Woodson was the guy he says he is, he would just give the money back because he would care more about Indiana University than he does himself. But we all know that not to be true because Mike Woodson doesn't do anything except for look out for himself every step of the way. It's unbelievable. The stuff that goes on behind closed doors. I just cannot wait till this regime is out of there, get Quinn Buckner out of there, get people that think that they're just above the law out of there, because they're driving a stake into my hillbilly monkey's heart over here. And we're going to talk about that later. And then Brian shared one story that I thought, and Kirk Haston wrote a book about Indiana basketball. You should check it out at the library, because if people go to libraries anymore, they do not.
Oh man, most people can't even read like more than like a minute these days, you know?
I do know. Sometimes I can't read. My phone has made my attention span about this big. Brian Evans, he shares a story that Dane Fife told him about when Kirk Haston came to Assembly Hall, and then Mike Woodson, what did he do next? Hillbilly Monkey, let's roll that clip.
But then when he told me that story, and he shared a handful of other stories that, again, probably more appropriate for him to share. One was about Kirk Haston coming back to a game. And and Dane wanted Woodson to go over and say hello and welcome Kirk, who rarely comes back from Tennessee. He had one of his kids with him. He says, hey, Coach, will you go over and say hi to Kirk? He was here from, 97 to 01. He was a great, all Big Ten player. We say hi to him. And now at this point in time, I think he was already fed up with Dane and didn't like Dane, and he was not willing to do that. He would not go say hello to Kirk Haston, whether it was to punish Dane Fife or just because he didn't care. And when I heard that, because when he did his press conference when he got the job, it was, bringing Coach Knight back, and, I'm back, and that means the Bob Knight way is back. I mean, I suspected that was a bunch of BS, but then when I heard Dane tell me that story, I was like, man, this is just fraud at this point in time. And then I had no interest. I still laid back for the second season, watched the second season with Trace, and I thought, man,
the stories just get juicier and juicier. I mean, it is fraud. It's like, dude, how come this guy can't even embrace anybody? He's got mommy daddy issues. I mean, big time. That's what happens. Hurt people. Trauma brings on trauma. I mean, you got to like acknowledge this stuff and like really be a man about it. I feel sorry for Mike Woodson and his family and his ways. I mean, although he's got a lot of money and that's giving him like a really thick candy shell that like just surrounds his brain.
I think you're going to be okay here. They have a thin candy shell. Surprised you didn't know that.
Your brain has a thick candy shell.
Your brain has the shell on it.
Yeah, the amount of hubris and just stupidity that comes out of this man on a regular basis. Every time I feel sorry for him, or, you know, they just won the Michigan State game, and I think, yeah, you know, I should be more positive because I don't want to be negative, but when you hear stuff like this, it just kills me because I think, why would you do that? Like, why would you do that to Kirk Haston? I mean, Kurt had a sweet hook shot, and everybody knows it. And the fact that you couldn't recognize that even, come on.
I like taking questions, and I love talking to you. But can I, you know, it's I think it's fair that I turn it around and ask you. So who do you like? Where's your head at? Do you have some candidate that you're all the way behind?
I don't completely dismiss a guy like Chris Beard because I like how hardcore that he is, but I do understand that he may have way too much baggage for them to ever consider. I like Dusty a great deal. I mean, I grew up with Dusty. I know how hard Dusty works. I know, you know, he started at the bottom and this is where he is. I have a great deal of respect for that. So, and you mentioned, you know, like a Cignetti guy, like Ben McCollum, who's at Drake, not exactly like Cignetti, but certainly very unknown first year at Drake and doing so. But I would always be in the corner for somebody that I know. In this case, I'd probably start with Dusty, but he would probably be pissed that I'm saying that right now because I'm sure he doesn't really want to mess with it. So yeah.
I don't even know if he'd want it at this point in time. But I didn't mean to leave out Beard. I think Beard's a good candidate too. And
I think he's hardcore basketball-wise, putting together a team with the resources IU has. This guy would absolutely win and win immediately. But he also, again, I know that there is nothing that stuck. But that story did, and that is going to be the issue. I'm assuming down there, I don't know, I'm just assuming with some, if you ask me who can get this thing immediately turned around, you know, from the bottom to back to the top, I think he is certainly a guy that could do that. He's just hardcore, and I think he's built for the landscape that college basketball is today. I
totally agree on him. And I hear what the first rebuttal is. You know, everyone says it. I hate that kind of stuff because then everyone's just drinking the same Kool-Aid. Like, we can't because we're better than him. You know what? I'd challenge that real quick. Yeah. You know, are we all better than Chris Beard because he had that happen? Got, you know, whatever. Everything was dismissed. Are we really going to do? Then who are we going to hire? So first, before we look for a basketball coach, we got to look for some guy with some, you know, perfect, unblemished record that didn't do anything but good Samaritan deeds. Like this thing didn't stick. Let's if we don't pick him and we don't get him, make it for some other reason. You know, that we just didn't think he was the right guy. Don't make it about that. This is a great point of view. Do we all think we're better than Chris Beard? Are we just not going to hire this guy because and, you know, we'll look a few years down the line, he'll probably get another bigger job and just crush it completely. But he is the surefire guy to come in here and change the culture and bring in his players from Ole Miss. And I think he could bring Braylon Mullins from UConn and Trent Sicily and have this team competing at a Final Four level next year. I really think he can. I think right now the problem with his offense really at Ole Miss, like, because he doesn't have an elite offense. I believe you bring in somebody like a Braylon Mullins, you suddenly at a higher institution like Indiana can attract the highest level offensive player, and then you factor that in with the defense that he puts in place. I think it's a home run, and I think we're all judging this guy in a way that is unfair. And I think we're being unfair to ourselves. I think we're being unfair to the process, the people that are really judging him, putting the cart before the horse, so to speak, because
And I'm still looking into Chris Beard. I know I keep saying this, but I'm still looking into his past and everything like that because, yeah, you want to do your due diligence. You want to, you don't want to just go off some hunch. This is a big time job. But from all the research I'm doing right now and just trying to find out more and more, Beard's looking
nice.
And then in this last clip, Brian, he talks about just what he wants for the coaching search, and we don't want to happen this time what happened the last time with Mike Woodson, where people just steamrolled Dolson, and then we got stuck with somebody who was somebody's buddy that was going to make them feel more and more comfortable. And we see what comfortability brings to the table. It brings a lot of losses. So let's get uncomfortable, folks, and let's get somebody can really push our teams and not get over the hump. You make damn effing sure that you get it done no matter what. And that is the kind of guy that Chris Beard is. I think he's a God-loving man, but this is what Brian Evans, I don't know why I'm talking about Chris Beard again, but this is what Brian Evans wants for the next search to happen. Roll it.
Leadership is concerned as the next head coach.
Well, I hope that my number one thing is I hope the guys that got in the way and put themselves before the program, because that's what I think they did. Anybody that put themselves before the program and put their friendship with him in front of Indiana basketball, I just hope none of those people get to be a part of the next coaching search. They shouldn't have a fingerprint on it. They shouldn't be allowed in the room. As powerful as they may be, they do not deserve a spot at the table as we pick our next coach based on what they just did, how many years they set us back. So I just hope that's the case. I hope that more than I'm hoping for a certain name. I don't want to put myself in front of the program and say, this is the guy, he's the guy. I think like most people, they're going to probably call Brad. I'll throw my curveball. I'd call Matt Painter and offer him 10 years and $100 million. That I don't have. I don't have the money. But I'd try to go after Matt Painter. I'd try to piss off the Purdue fan base and make them, dig in their pockets and pay him a lot more than he's getting paid because I think he's worth it. And they got him, and we're not going to get him, but at least we could make them pay for him.
So, Hillbilly Monkey, more great stories from Brian Evans. He talked about his ears on that episode, and he talked about his nickname Dutch and different things like that. So I would definitely tell you, check out the whole thing on JMV The Ride. But Brian Evans with more and more stories. And Hillbilly Monkey, what do you think about all of this? It just more and more stuff. There are going to be books written about these last 4 years of Mike Woodson. And what do you think about it?
Carved from the sands of the Wabash River and formed into a monkey land that's sold at Home Goods. It's the Hillbilly Monkey Perspective on Indiana Sports Connection.
Oh man, we've been watching this crap really since the very beginning. And Brian said it in that interview early on. It's like he knew we were in trouble when Trace Jackson Davis was the guy with the ball in his hands all the time, the only one making the decisions on the court, because what the heck kind of coaching was that? I mean, guards were uninvolved except for Jalen Hood-Schifino, who really took over some games with a special type of talent. But that's what Mike Woodson needs. Mike Woodson needs professional basketball players that know exactly what to do and have a PhD in basketball. And we all knew that for a long time. I don't really want to blather on about this because the old Woody Meister, he's on his way out the door. Give him a nice kick in the ass. You know what? Give your $8 million right back to the university where it belongs, and then you can get some respect there, you son of a bitch.
You see, you're driving a heart through the steak of my Hillbilly Monkey over here, and it's all over but the crying for Mike Woodson. And, I guess he's going to collect his money. They're probably playing this just right with all the lawyers and everything so he can get his money and, have his dignity too and act like he didn't get fired from this job. What a damn pussy, if you ask me. Like, that's all I would say. It's like, dude, and there are other things he said in that episode, how Woody says he's got security detail because he gets so many death threats, and it's just awful, and we're all so toxic, and it's everybody else's fault, everybody's finger pointing. And I know all coaches love to blame everybody when they fail miserably, but this is a crash and burn situation, and as more and more stuff comes out about this coaching search and everything like that, we're just going to talk about that and more stories about Mike Woodson as those come out, because there's going to be books written about this. Thank you so much for joining me on this episode of Indiana Sports Connection. Until next time, stay classy out there, Hoosier fans.